Hey guys, Misty and Coney went up today, so we're going to take a look at those along with Mr. and Bitcoin because they did have a nice little pop-up today. Then we're also going to take a look at my SPY option trade that I've been working on for the last week, as I did sell another call on that one. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to take a look at Misty, Coney, Mr. and Bitcoin because Misty and Coney had a nice little pop-up today, and we're going to take a look at those for sure. I also wanted to show you my SPY day trade that I've been working on, and I've done a couple videos as I did own it back about a week ago at a $6.64 price per share, and I did sell a call today. So I wanted to go over that and show you where I'm at. So let's just go ahead and jump right over into the charts and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start right here off with Coney first. And I'm going to zoom in for the people in the back, and you can see what a nice little pop-up today. Friday was a nice little pop-up, and then of course today we had a nice move up, but then came back some, right? But you can see that on Friday, it closed at 6.38, and today we opened at 6.47. We got as high as 6.65 before backing off and closing at 6.49 today. A very nice move on Coney. Now, I still have my limit to buy some shares here at $6.10. So if it does come down, it will pick up 50 shares at $6.10. Not sure if it's going to get there, but that is just right there at that low candle that we hit on Friday. I missed setting it for that day, so I might have just missed out altogether, but I'm going to put it out there and I've got it good till cancel, so it's just available if that price ever comes down and then triggers it. My real price per share is around $6.75 per share. Now you can see that my purchased share price is at $10.43, and I've got 350 shares currently, but my real price per share is $6.75. But let's just swing right over into the adjusted chart and let's check out to see where the indicator's set. All right, so now we're looking at the adjusted chart and we're looking at the Bollinger Band, and you can see we are still on that bottom half of that Bollinger Band. We did come up and looks like we got and tapped that MA20, which is the middle of that Bollinger Band, and then got rejected back down a little bit, right? And you can see we are flattening out a little bit on that MACD in hopes that we're going to turn around and start moving up and hopefully cross to the upside on this one. The RSI 2 is up and the RSI 14 is sitting at about 47. Hopefully we can break past this MA20 and start moving back up to the top of that Bollinger Band, sitting at around that 741. So roughly about $1 from here. If it can move up, that would be great. But it was very good to see Coney getting that nice little pop-up today, as the market did move up for the day, and it's good to see Coney took advantage of that. Now let's take a look at Misty. And here we are on Misty. And we're looking at the actual chart here. And you can see I drew a line here at the bottom. And that's at 1143. And that's our new low. It did close on Friday at 1186. And today it opened at 1215. And it went as high as 1243. But then eventually came back and settled at that 1215 area. Now I'm hoping that we can keep moving this on up, as it would be wonderful to recapture some of that distribution that we got paid out. Now granted, that payout was for 3 weeks, right? So it might be a bit difficult to capture that full 60 cents of that distribution payout in 1 week, but we do need to keep recapturing that in that price in hopes that we can start moving Misty on back up. But of course, the only way to get Misty up is Mr. has to move up. And here we are on Mr. And again, I did draw that line right here as that was the bottom on Friday, but it was an up day, right? it did open at 279.27, went as high as 292.80, and closed at 289.87. And today it actually opened at 297.21. So a very nice pop up today. And then it was just riding high, right? It went as high as 306.16. Very nice. But looks like we had a bit of a pullback from that 306, and it brought it all the way back down to 296.61. But what would be good is if that bottom right there, and I'll draw a line right there, if where it bottomed out can be a nice little support. You can see that that's where it bottomed out here before we broke on below it, but then came back up, right? But hopefully this line here can be a bit of a support. You can see that it did dip down here, broke just a little bit below it, but did respect it and bounced off of it. Here we did break down below it, but very short period, right? Before jumping back up and looking like it's trying to use that as a support line here. So that would be a very good sign if that can be our support right there at that 294. And then we can start moving MSTR on back up. You can see that the momentum here is dying down a little bit on the red side because we did have a pop-up, but I'm sure that was much smaller whenever this was sitting at around 306, right? But that MACD is leveling off, and if that can start turning up some, then we can get that crossover and then start hopefully moving this thing on back up. Now, as far as a buy on MSTR, for me, again, I do like to buy it at the bottom of that Bollinger Band, and I like that RSI 2 under 10. And there, we've got the Bollinger Band turned on, and as you can see, we've been coming down, right? So we are currently at the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, but that RSI 2, for me, is too high, and you can see it is trying to move back up to that midpoint. Now, on Thursday, when it actually did drop below that 10 on the RSI, and that price was down to a low of 282 area, that would have been a good buy time for me. Now, you probably could have bought as well on the Friday when it was as low as 279, as that RSI 2 would have been low as well. But since it did start moving back up, that's what kicked that RSI 2 back up and took it above that 10 on the RSI. So though Thursday would have been a good buy, Friday, when it was low, would have also been a good time to buy, in my opinion. But for today, even though it is on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, the RSI 2 is just moving up too much. I would much rather wait until it comes back down before I would buy another share or two. So I'm still averaging in on MSTR at time to time. I've got 27 shares and my current average is 334.48. So as you can see, I am currently down in the play because the current price of MSTR is 296. And me being at 334, I'm definitely down on the play. But I have been buying as it's been coming down. So I'm averaging down to lower my average in hopes that eventually MSTR can move on back up when Bitcoin moves back up. And speaking of Bitcoin, you can see right here, Bitcoin has just been on a drop, right? We were at around that 126 area up here. Then we dropped down to a low of 103.6K. So ouch on that, right? But we did level off, and even though we did break below that 105.9, we came back up and closed above it. As you can see, then the next day we got close to it, and then on Sunday we actually tapped it and then came back up. So it seems to be wanting to respect this 105.9K. And if that's the case, then that can be a pretty strong support line. But currently we are above our 109K line here. Looks like it did come down and almost wanted to test that 109 today, but it won't hurt my feelings if it just keeps on going and get back up here and start testing this 115 resistance line. You can see that the momentum here is decreasing on that red side. That's a good sign. We've got the MACD here leveling off in hopes to turn and start moving up. That's a good sign. And the RSI 14 is only a 43, so there's plenty of room for that price to move on up. But we really need Bitcoin to get back up into this 115, 120 area so that we can move MSTR up, which will then help push our MSTY back up. Now, I don't know how far up is up with MSTY, but I just want it to stay above, hopefully, this $12 range. I'd like to see it back in the $15 range, but I don't know. I'm not really too concerned with the price. I just don't want it to be so low, because when it does, then our distributions also start getting smaller. And I don't want that. So therefore, I want MSTY to move on up in price, get higher distributions, get my MSTY paid off, so that I then can start building up my share count as well using YieldMax house money. So I was pretty excited to see MSTY moving up. I hate that it did tail back off, but of course it's just following what MSTR did, right? MSTR went up, it tailed off. But now I wanted to take a moment to take a look at my option trade that I did on SPY. And here we are on SPY. Now you can see we had a very nice green candle today, because on Friday we got as high as 665.76 and closed at 664.39. Today we popped, right? We opened at 667.32 and went as high as 672.21. Very nice. Now, if I look at the 5-minute chart, there we go. We're looking at the 5-minute chart now. And as you can see, we opened right down here at this roughly 667 area, and it just started moving up, right? Now, I do own 100 shares of SPY at 664. So when this thing opened and it was at 667 area, I went ahead and jumped on to selling a call, right? Because many times have we gone up, got close to about 669 or 670, and then started coming back down, right? Well, today it didn't do that, but I went ahead and sold that call. And I sold it around about 9:35 or something like that. It went through pretty close to the first of the morning. And there it is right there. You can see there's that SPY for 671, October the 20th, which is today. And it was a call for one total contract. Now, each contract is 100 shares. So this was me writing this contract to state that I am willing to sell my shares if the price gets above that 671. And for doing so, I got 50 cents per share or $50 for writing that call. So I got paid $50. No matter what happens, I get to keep that. So as you can see right here, looking at this 5-minute chart, this big green candle, it was just moving, right? So I sell my call because now it's around that 668 mark. And I'm thinking, well, I'll sell a call and I'll go out to 671, which is way up here, right? I'm thinking if it gets up to there and it sells and it takes my shares, then that is a nice price appreciation. But the way it's been going in the past, gets up high and then comes off at the end of the day. But today, it just stayed up. So I sold that call at 671. I own those shares at 664. So you subtract the two, 671 from 664, and that is a $7 move, right? So $7 times 100 shares, that's $700 that I potentially would make if the price closes above 671. Well, it went all the way up. It came back down. It was teeter-tottering right here around this low 671 to about 672, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, well, there goes the shares. It's going to sell them. But I'm going to make $700 off of that sell. I've got no problem with that, right? That's a nice gain, especially for only having it for about a week. Now, as you can see, if you look here, right here toward the end of the day, it got as low as 671.20 and then popped up and closed at 671.30. But had there been one more candle, if you were to look right here, this one here dropped as low as 670.93. Now, if it would have closed at that, then I would still have my shares, and that would be 100 shares. But who knows what tomorrow's going to bring? It could come down. So the fact that I actually sold my shares at 671 even, and the price is 671.30, I feel like I did a pretty good job on that deal. A $7 move, and that put got assigned on October 10th. So it's only been 10 calendar days, and I have sold a couple calls along with earning the money from the put, right? So if I use my calculator right here, for that put that I originally sold, I earned $1.11 per share. So times 100, that's $111 for that put. Now that's the one that was assigned at that 664. Then I sold a call at 669, and that gave me $85 more. Well, that expired, worthless, because it did not get up to 669 on that day. I then sold a call today at 671, and for that I earned $50 more. So just in that, I earned $246 just in the premium. And that's the original put that did get assigned, the call that expired worthless, and today's call that looks like it's going to be taken. So $246 in premium plus $7 per share price appreciation times 100 shares is $700. So I can take that plus the $700 in price appreciation, and I made $946. Very sweet. And like I said, I got assigned those shares on October 10th. And you can see on the calendar right here is October 10th. So that's when I got assigned, that Friday. I then sold that first call on that 15th. That was the one that I sold at 669. Did not close at that point. So that expired. And the one that I sold today, being the 20th, at 671. Well, since the price is above that, those shares should be called away. So not too shabby for basically 7 trading days or 10 calendar days to make just under $1,000. Very, very sweet. Super excited about that. And come tomorrow, if we have a down day, then I'll look to sell a put and do it all over again. But if it is up, then I'll have to wait until we get another red day. But honestly, I was not thinking that I was going to get called away, but I did, and it worked out well for me. So I have a lot of fun doing cover calls and cash secured puts, and it even makes it more fun when you're making some really good money doing it, right? So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.